curriculum. We are already in the paper curriculum development and transaction. I have shared two videos on initial topics, and you might have attempted the first quiz on those topics. And today we are having a discussion on what is curriculum, the meaning of curriculum, its definition, its nature, significance, etc. So, what is a curriculum? What is the meaning of curriculum? Curriculum can be experience in very single term. We can mention or we can say curriculum as experience. It's not mere an experience, but it is the sum total of experiences. So what shall be the kind of experiences? And this particular exposure today, all of us are in an online, wait a minute. All of us are in a new platform. This is a new experience. And how we are making use of this particular interface. That's a new experience. So similarly, for the duration of a course, when we are joined for a particular course, you join for this particular program, a 2-year MEd program. And the sum total of experiences for the entire duration of this program shall be your curriculum. So that's the meaning of the sum total of experiences. When we are specifically talking about an academic program. So the sum total of all experiences, all kind of experiences. So we can categorize experiences into two. One is planned experiences and the other is unplanned or unintended. So planned experiences shall be intended experiences, because we are expecting on intention, objective based. So there is a planned part as well as a part which is never planned. So which has the major share, planned or unplanned? It's our perception that in any curriculum, a planned part has the major share. Unfortunately, it is not. It is not the planned component, but the unplanned component share the major part in a curriculum. The planned part, for example, your semester plan, your timetable, and the live or other classes taken by different teachers, and your submissions in the form of assignment, test, etc. All these are planned components, but with some restrictions. We all know that things may not happen according to the plan. So we have a semester plan and all activities mentioned in that plan may not be taking place in its scheduled time or date or its scheduled nature. Then the timetable also. You are having a specific timetable for different core papers, for research guidance, library, etc. And nowadays you have no access to a physical library facilities. I may say like that. Physical access to library is not possible. So there is a problem with that planned component. And in that planned component also, there are so many unplanned activities. You all are sitting in my class. Suppose you are listening, or sometimes you are thinking about some other things, or sometimes you are doing some other activities because you are not in a physical class. So the limitation of the planned component of the curriculum is that we cannot ensure that all happen. That's the case of planned component itself. Then what about the major share, the unplanned component, unintended? We are expecting what all things in that area of curriculum. What are the different kinds of experiences? The experiences when you are applying for this particular program, then for joining, then for entering different kinds of classes, appearing tests, submitting assignments, everything. And if you are coming to the institution for a physical or traditional or a face-to-face class, then you will have another set of experiences. If you are a hostler, you have a specific set of experiences. If you are a day scholar, then you will have another set of experiences. Both are different. So though we follow a general pattern in the curriculum, the experiences of each and every learner in a program will be different. So it depends on mainly on the unintended or unplanned interactions, unplanned activities, unplanned experiences most of the time. That's the reason why after completion of a course, say for example, B.Ed, your last program. So when I ask you a question, which is the most memorable event or memorable day in your B.Ed program or in your school days or your degree program? And I'm sure that it should not be an academic program. It shall be either an educational tour or a celebration or an art festival or something like that. See, because of that richness of that experience, because of our involvement in that experience, that's why it remains memorable. So that's one of the major elements in any curriculum. So when we are talking about experiences, so that experiences whether planned or unplanned, contribute to a curriculum. But unfortunately, curriculum is merely considered as syllabus. It may be restricted to syllabus because the nature of curriculum, there are different nature for curriculum. So in our system of education, our curriculum is mainly content oriented or subject oriented, discipline specific. More emphasis given to learning content, means facts, mainly facts, seldom concepts. So that is more importance. In examinations, we have to answer for in which year and what is the name of this particular educationist and what is the definition given by so and so. So all these are different forms of content. What are the basic elements of idealism? Such kind of content or facts are given more prominence in our system of curriculum. So it's a content oriented curriculum. So the nature of curriculum, emphasis is on content or subject matter is important. And in another concept on curriculum or a different nature of curriculum, curriculum based on objectives. So objectives are significant than content. So objectives are important. That's another way of thinking about curriculum. What are the objectives on the basis of which curriculum is designed? And there is going a curriculum reform in India nowadays. Our curriculum is shifting towards an outcome based education or an outcome based curriculum. We shall discuss it in another session. In last video also I have mentioned about that. I am going to prepare a presentation on that separately because it is so significant, because it is going to be a massive change in the form of curriculum in our nation. So the objectives, when we are talking about objectives, the first name that comes into our mind is that of Benjamin S. Bloom, who was the original proponent of classification, taxonomy of instructional objectives. So instruction, you might have heard the definition of curriculum given by Cunningham, Arthur Cunningham. Usually almost all students, B.Ed students must have heard about that definition. So it was a traditional definition. Curriculum is a tool in the hands of an artist to mold his material according to his ideals in his studio. So the present concept, there is no molding. Later on, we know that each and every learner is a unique individual, and the learner construct knowledge with the help of others interaction with others, friends, teachers, elders. That's why we are learning by interacting with, or sometimes interacting with self. In essence, all learning is self learning. Only we can learn. Nobody can make us learn. Nobody can teach anybody. That's the basic rule regarding teaching. We all teach to based curriculum. First content based and the second nature is based on objective. What are the objectives of the curriculum? Or why this particular curriculum is designed? So the answer for that why is a set of objectives in order to realize these and these objectives. So if the embedded curriculum is objective based, the first objective shall be to develop better teacher educators. What is meant by better teacher educators? The teacher educators who can contribute effectively for the welfare of nation, not only in teaching, but in the way through teaching or training of teachers and indirectly empowering the nation. So their objective is important than content. We have to choose appropriate content according to objectives. Then in another nature, the curriculum shall be activity based. Activities are more important. So activities provide us different kinds of experiences. So it's not mere a reception of a content. In content oriented or a content curriculum, it is a receive. We are receiving something. We are always ready. We are sitting in the class, whether it is online or face to face. We are ready to accept from the teacher. Only when the teacher entering the class, we are thinking of learning something. So that's the nature of content based curriculum. So in activity based curriculum, it is not like that. Activities got prime importance. So in that activities provide us experiences, different kinds of experiences. So say for example, this particular teaching app. So a friend of mine the other day talked to me about this and said that this consumes so much data. Okay, in a content based curriculum, in that point of view, surely I will accept that, oh, this particular app is consuming more data than Google Meet. Okay. So if I am in an activity based curriculum, or the curriculum, the nature of the curriculum which I follow is activity based, I should just do an activity. So what is the activity? Just to check the data usage for this particular app and verify whether this statement is correct or not. or to develop a correct perception about the data usage using this teachment, whether it is higher, lower than this Google Meet and all, or other video conferencing applications. There are so many video conferencing applications. So what about that? That's the case. In the case of activity, we should do something. Do and learn. We got experience by engaging in activities. Activities are not experiences, but activity experiences. We have learned by doing activities. The curriculum, that's the third type, the content based or content oriented, objective oriented or objective based, then activity oriented, and context oriented. Curriculum based on context. So what we are experiencing now, because of the pandemic, the context decides a change in curriculum. That's what we are experiencing. Because the change in context, all these technologies are here by decades. This video conferencing is already there. I think some 10 years back in 2011, we had a video conferencing program in the university. After that, of 10 years, and 2000 words are thinking of, otherwise we are satisfied things that of education. Education is very slow. So we are not able to make use of the technology for the development of education, technology for easiness of access to education. We think about only when all doors are get closed. Now we think how to escape out. So that's one problem of our content-based curriculum itself. Because we are waiting, and waiting. So this particular context-based text of two things. A lot of the best for you. That's some live classes. Because I knew that few among you having very low network access, and that's a problem. So when I am taking a class using Google Meet, many of you may not attend that. But I choose this particular application because there is a facility in this to on-time recording of my class, and that will be available for you later on. So those who are not able to attend the class also can attend it at a later time. So that's the most striking feature of this particular application. So such kind of thinking will be developed as a result of a context-based curriculum. So the context has given more emphasis. So the context is more important. How to, for example, your admission process. So we have ready for a face-to-face admission process. We have arranged everything in the department and all, and the previous day of the interview, I think, or the day before, the entire university shut down due to the pandemic, and everybody except me believe that interview should not be conducted. But I am confident because we are connected. We have a WhatsApp group and we have a website. So it was very easy for us, for all of you and for me, for going that of admission. So the change in context that made us think of alternative possibilities. So it's a possibility. Even though there are transportation facilities and no pandemic, institutions shall conduct admission process in this way. It will be very helpful for students. All institutions, universities, colleges, all are saying that, they are proclaiming that we are for students. But it is one of the most student friendly act from the institution. Because the interview for different institutions shall take place on a single day. And except those in sure list, all others have to move around in different institutions. So if the process of admission is online, then it is no problem, we can sit at one place. That's why I told you that the reforms in education, the rate of pace of reforms changes is very slow. But in world-class institutions, world-class organizations, all of them make use of the newer technologies. Most of the job interviews for the highest post, including, all are taking place online. No need to go that place by taking a file of our achievements. No need to go for joining for a course. Everything we can manage online. That's the advantage. But our system is still rigid because we are trained so, we are developed so in such a system of curriculum. A subject or discipline based curriculum, it is very difficult to change because we believed in facts. Facts are universal truths, unchangeable. So the context or contextual curriculum, the fourth type. The context is most important, not the content, not the objective, not the activity. So what is the context in which you are living now, and what is the context to which you are going to? So that's why I already told that I am introducing this application for a purpose. My second purpose is for you to introduce this for benefit at the time of your internship, because it has a very attractive feature in a teacher point of view than a learner point of view. The attendance is automatic, which is not possible in this Google Meet and other video conferencing applications or platforms, etc. Attendance is automatic. A teacher should not worry about attendance. Whoever enter in the class should be recorded and we can download it for weekly or monthly. So as a teacher point of view, it is very useful feature. So because this particular app is designed in the current context, the Google Classroom, all those G Suite, modifications are coming time, but myself having experience of at least 4 years in using this Google Classroom, because before the emergence of this pandemic, I have utilized the facility for conducting tests, the internal assessment uh, of my part, my paper has been through Google Classroom since 4 years. So all those were developed in different contexts when we are free to move. So that's why there is a difficulty in incorporating many of the new features in that. But this particular app, which is designed amidst of this context. So what shall be? So the context provide something for us and context restricts something for us. So that's another nature of the curriculum. It is one dimension of looking in the nature of the curriculum. Or in another dimension, the curriculum can be subject-centered, teacher-centered, learner-centered, or activity-centered. Another type of classification. Subject-centered, teacher-centered, activity-centered. All these are mere names. In any case, the teacher will be the center. That's our system. Our system shows like that. By decades, we are saying that we are moving towards learner-centered education. If learner is the center, the process of learning shall be controlled by the learner. Means learner shall decide when and how to learn. It should not be at 8:30, it may not be at 9:30, and it may be at something by the late hours, according to the nature of the learner. Then only we can say it has a learner-centered curriculum. Or we should not compel learners to appear for exam. Suppose you have to appear for exam by the next week. It is not a learner-centered approach, a learner-centered curriculum. If it is learner-centered, a learner can take the exam or test, whatever it is, when the learner is ready, within a time frame. There shall be a time frame, there shall be a duration. Suppose for a 6 months program, a learner can take test by the first month itself, but should not be later than 6 months or 7 months. There shall be a criteria for that. Then only we can say as a learner-centered curriculum. The learner should get control of activities, control of his or her own learning. So that's why this online education get prominence. Online education is brings up a paradigm shift. It is one of the boon of this pandemic, I say. By decades, we are trying to shift our education system from teaching to learning. But fortunately, of this situation, this context, all on a sudden, everything get into the control of the learner. Learner can control whether, but there of course is resistance from us teachers. We always want to take live classes. There are many teachers who are saying that it is not possible to teach without seeing the faces of learners. And the rationale that they are for their view is that it is by seeing the face of the teacher, the learner studies. What a lame or blame excuse. So it is not the face of the teacher. We all know. How many faces we came across in our entire process of education. And whatever emotions they bring up in our mind as teachers, we can think about that. So this particular online education, though not fully, but this online education has the capacity to transform education system purely learner directed. We can inbuilt examination along with this system. But many of them are afraid of, teachers are afraid of online examination. Administrators are afraid of conducting online examinations. Open book means copying down. Never like that. I had an experience uh, nearly some 30 years back, writing an open book examination. It is very, very difficult to score well or score high in an open book examination because the questions shall be in such a manner. Or I am you all my tests are open tests. And it's a proof before the world. And you know that I am giving you the simplest items. Only one or two items are some average or above average. All others are simple items. I just mean that you need to go through that particular material. That's why it's not for assessing you. It is not an assessment. It's a part of assessment itself is considered as learning. That's a new trend in curriculum. While we are assessing something, that's why in online education, peer assessment become an important requirement. In order to complete a program, peer assessment is a mandatory requirement. Say for example, if your MEd program is in such a way, nowadays you are preparing research proposals. So if it is on the view that assessment also as a means of learning, then you must have assess the research proposals of 1, 2 or 3 of your peers. So that peer assessment will provide us with new dimensions of thinking, new lines of thinking. That's the advantage of this peer assessment as well as self-assessment. Both these are uh, advantageous than teacher assessment. In teacher assessment, what we are doing is that just correcting, putting some marks or question mark or red lines. That's not the actual assessment. The self-assessment is the best assessment. And peer assessment is also good because both the parties are motivated. Both you as the peer, your friend. Second, the answer or the orientals each are coming from different backgrounds with different experiences. Integrating all such experiences in the class. That is the purpose of curriculum. That is the nature of the curriculum. Whether it is subject oriented, whether it is teacher directed, whether it is objective based, whatever it is. So fortunately, I think you are active, very much active in your social media groups, class groups, etc. So much discussions may happen in such groups, unofficial discussions, talks. So all those provide us rich new experience. So all this to our curriculum. Syllabus is nothing in that. But unfortunately, in our system, we are focusing more on syllabus. So by curriculum, we mean the sum total of experiences for the entire duration of a course or a program. You know the difference between a course and program. MED is a program. This curriculum development and transaction is a course in that particular program. So there are different courses. So that sum total of experiences in the entire duration of the program can be a curriculum when we say it as academically, an academic definition. So there are so many other definitions. I will share some of the important definitions in your class, and